Cool. Right. Everyone can hear me, I hope. I don't usually do this sort of talks. Usually my talks are quite technical. But I thought, you know what? Why not sign up for something that is a little bit of a rant? And it's going to be me talking about my experience as a security engineer using AI and also using products that use AI and also working with other people that are using AI. Right? So I want to start with, I'm a cloud security engineer. That's my role. I also do other things like a little bit of security consultancy, a little bit of I've worked a little bit on identity stuff, all good things. And from the start, when I started doing consultancy, many times I found myself having to rely on people following some sort of processes. I really didn't like that. Like, you're telling me that I need to trust that this security control is going to be followed. That's when I started looking at automation and scripting, PowerShell, Python, anything I could do that gives me a deterministic output, a deterministic report. Really liked that. And started building into my security workflows. Then AI started coming along, and I started to be able to do scripts really easily, really fast, really liked it. I also started to see AI getting into products that I was using. And then I kind of started to think, wait a second, haven't we gone through this before? I thought we were trying to shy away from that unreliability of controls, which started to make me kind of frown my nose a little bit. So I want to take you through 4 areas that I think about on a day-to-day basis. Then I'll tell you what I do. Might work for you, and best case scenario, you can tell me what you do, and I'll deal better with this. So starting with the reliability of AI and LLMs and things that use unreliable things, probabilistic things. If you turn to an engineer, a security engineer, or a developer, and you say, look, your firewall will work 9 out of 10 times, or your authentication will work and will verify who you really are 99% of the times. That might fly once or twice, but then a year later, someone new is going to come in, he's going to look at that design and go, who the hell accepted this? That's because reliability is really important for engineering. And I know that there's no control that is 100% reliable. However, what I do see is we are starting to let AI impact the reliability of otherwise quite reliable controls. The problem here is that we might be replacing those reliable controls with unreliable ones. And the reason this starts to happen is because we start to see that there's a non-deterministic nature in these tools, in these AI tools, in these LLMs. And which brings me to my next point, deterministic outputs versus non-deterministic outputs. And I use both. I really find LLMs and code generation tools really great for at least 2 things. One, generating scripts that then allow me to do deterministic things, right? I know what I need, I know what kind of reports I need, just generate me this really quickly. And then I have a deterministic output every time. And the other use case that I found is using non-deterministic outputs in conjunction with those deterministic ones. What that gives you is, okay, you have a very specific hard-coded use cases, for example, for detection of something, and then you combine that with maybe an exec summary to send to your reports. That's great. However, and I really like to do that, I have found myself running into some corner cases sometimes that I didn't expect. And the reason that happened, right, that you didn't catch those corner cases is because you've done it really quick, right? You've asked the LLM, give me a script that does X, Y, and Z, you have not gone through those, through that typing of the code and really deeply think about the problem that you're trying to solve or that you're trying to cater for. So do know that speed comes at a cost here. And the reason we don't catch, or I don't catch these pitfalls, these issues, these corner cases of my problem space is because I haven't spent the time interiorizing about the subject. Which leads me to my biggest pet peeve, which is when people say they're going to use AI or LLMs to generate documentation or to send that email that they don't want to send. Or, and no shame in that, I have used sometimes to create a presentation. The reason I like documentation, I really like to do documentation, and the reason is because there's some meaning into it. It means someone has gone through the trouble of, through the effort of building that documentation up, of understanding the problem, deeply thinking about the trade-offs that resulted in a decision or a conclusion. Right now, content creation no longer means that, right? Anyone with expertise or not can go to some ChatGPT or Copilot and ask it for a 10-page report or a blog post about anything that they have not spent even 3 hours reading about. And the problem here is that it's really hard to distinguish between an expert that does that and brings their insight into the picture. And it's okay because, okay, they generated it fast, but they do have their insights and they do know what they want to share with others. Versus someone that doesn't have that insight, just posted something, and you as the reader are kind of left to kind of weed out which ones are the ones that really make sense and which ones you'd rather just ask your own chat GPT instance. And what did I want to say now? Right. I remember. It's from your. I was like, oh, because I was sat there and I thought, oh, that's really good. You know how you mentioned one of the communication things was how relevant they were. Have you ever experienced? I have, right? I've asked some questions sometimes to certain people. Simple question, and I get a 10-page report. I'm like, now I'm left with the effort of trying to understand what you wanted to say. And that really stuck with me, like the relevance of an answer. And with this, in this age of AI, you don't always get that. So, the last area, if you start combining all of these factors, right, you get this compounding effect of uncertainty, because AI is uncertainty. And it's really AI building on AI. And I can give you an example of that. When I've been through this, where I'm using a product, and that product turns out has a sprinkle of AI. And that's because everything has AI nowadays, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But turns out the documentation that I was reading about that product is also done with AI. No, okay, that's fine. I didn't do this part, but I could have been using my own AI client to grab that documentation and summarize it for me. So another layer of AI. What happens here, right, is with all of these layers of AI is any small mistakes, any small overstatements, small misunderstandings that someone might captured there, they all build into this awesome theoretical solution that then is handed over to engineers. And engineers are the ones that will have to find out that this is not really possible. And you're going to be the ones that are saying, you know how you wanted to do this? We are not really capable of doing that because X, Y, and Z, because it's not reliable. And So this does leave me a little bit frustrated, right? So I have some mechanisms to deal with this, and they won't solve it every time. You can use them or not. You can tell me that, nah, actually you're missing a bunch more. So what I do here is, number one, I'm a real sucker for documentation, and I will refuse to read your documentation if I feel it was made by AI. Number two is always validate claims, because not everyone does one, right? Like in the, I had to use the laser, else it would have been useless to go bigger. Not everyone does number one, hence you kind of just need to technically verify and validate the claims that you can validate ahead of time. And then, as I've hinted, always, if you can, try to leverage both deterministic and non-deterministic outputs of your workflows. And when you break any of those rules, like I do, don't be too harsh on yourself. I'm trying not to be too harsh on myself. I just really have to know and accept whatever the consequences are if I choose to break one of those rules. And thank you. That's it.